love playing chess. Do you like playing chess? Yeah. Every time I play chess, I always think of a king and a queen and another queen, Aoife and Eve and Lear. Now, this story is called The Children of Lear. It's a story that I've heard way back since I was a toddler, and it lingers in my mind's heart, and it roams around there and haunts, longing for the telling, longing to be falling out and tripping over the ears of a listener. And I think the time might be ready now to tell you such a story. Way back in the day, there was a king. Bodaric was his name, and he was the king of all the kings. But there was another king, King Lear, who felt that he should be king of all the kings and didn't really want to swear allegiance to Bodaric. Now, Bodaric was a peaceful man, and he thought of ways of how he could bring peace between himself and Lear. And he thought, well, if the two families were joined together, maybe that would bring the peace about. So, over a time, Bodaric's daughter Eve came to marry Lear, and they had a family, and the two families were united, and that was grand. And they had 4 lovely children: Fionnuala, the daughter, Eid, and the twins, Conor and Fiachra. And though they were happy, and a happy family and a happy extended family, a sadness fell. Shortly after the twins were born, Eve died, and Lear was saddened, for he'd loved Eve, and he kept his children so close to him and so guarded, and he was saddened. Bodaric felt sorry for Lear and his heartache, and he asked his other daughter, Aoife, to go and help Lear and act as a mother to the children and be some sort of consolation to Lear. And she gladly did. And she got on well with the children and acted as a good mother and was really, in essence, a good mother to the children. And Lear saw this and he loved her for this and loved her so much they got married and they were happy. And time passed. And Eve got jealous. Jealous of the love and affection that Lear was given to his children. And that jealousy twisted and gnawed at her heart and turned her bitter. So she devised a plot, a plan, to rid herself of the children. One day when Lear was away, she told the children that she was going to take them to her father's palace, the great big palace of Bodaric, far across the land. And the children were excited, especially the boys. They were going to the grand palace, and they were going in a chariot, and they were going to see their grandfather. They were absolutely delighted. So they jumped into the chariot, Fionnuala a little bit more hesitant, but obliged and did as she was bid. And they got into the chariot and they rode off. After a couple of hours, they stopped for a little while in a forest, and Eve told them to get out and play. Fionnuala was a little bit hesitant, but she did as her stepmother told her. Eve went to her servant and handed him a sword and told him to kill the children as they played. The soldier was horrified. No, he could not do it, and so afeard he was of Aoife, he ran off. Aoife was furious. She bid the children to get back into the chariot, and they'd set off for the palace of Bodaric. Meanwhile, her mind was whirling around. What could she do? What could she do? And as they came across Loch Darrick, another plan festered in her mind. And she stopped the chariot and bade the children to get out and wash themselves because they were dirty after playing in the forest, and there was no way that dirty children could go to the clean palace of their grandfather, Bodaric, in that state. And the boys were delighted. A bit of a swim and a splash, and off they went. But Fionnuala was hesitant and hid behind a tree. Aoife called to Fionnuala and bid her to go and wash with her brothers. Fionnuala reluctantly did as she was told, for she was merely a child. So she got into the water and stayed close to her brothers. It was then that Aoife summoned all the witchness and the evil and blackness in her, and courage upped, and conjured up a spell, a heinous spell, and cast it upon those children, as splashing and playing in the water, and turned them into swans. Oh, graceful, beautiful swans they were, but swans all the same. So she turned on her heels and walked away. Fionnuala, looking down and seeing she was a swan, and seeing her brothers as swans, called out after Aoife, "Aoife! Aoife! Please don't leave us like this! Come back, Aoife!" But Aoife kept walking. "Aoife, how could you be so cruel? Aoife, we called you mother! We called you mother, Aoife! Awa here, don't leave us unshot!" Aoife's cruel heart was struck by this, and she turned, and some drop of remorse must have come to her, so she looked at the children and, well, the swans, and said, "What's been done cannot be undone." "Oh, mother, awa here," cried Fionnuala. "Please." So Aoife, she gave them a voice, a human voice, and told them they could keep their human voice for 900 years. That human voice, that beautiful voice, and the song that they would sing, to all humans that would hear it, it would bid peace and comfort to them. "But," said Aoife, "you need to remain here on this water and never touch soil again for 900 years. For 300 years you will stay here in Lochdark. And then for 300 years you will fly north to the Sea of Moyle and stay there in the stormy waters of Loch Moyle, the Sea of Moyle. Silent, O Moyle, be the roar of thy waters. Break not, ye breezes, your chain of repose." Oh, a stormy sea was Moyle, and for 300 years the children were to stay there in its stormy waters. And then after 300 years they were to fly west to Lochgar, and there they would spend their final 300 years, and then after that time they may step on the water and become human form again. Fionnuala spread out her wings and furled her brothers around her and swam out across the lake. Aoife quickly got back into the chariot and continued on her journey to her father, Bodaric. And when she got there, she lied and said, "I couldn't bring the children, father. Lear is so possessive of them. He wouldn't allow them to come with me. But I wanted to see you, Dad." And she embraced him and kissed him and lowered her eyes. Bodaric was furious. All the kindness that he had done Lear, and Lear begrudged him sight of his own grandchildren. He was really angry. But his anger subsided when he thought about it for a bit, and he wrote to Lear, asking him, "Lear, come to the palace, bring the children with you, for I long to see my grandchildren." He sent a servant with the letter, so that the letter could get to Lear by the morning. When Lear opened that letter and read it, his heart thundered. He realised something was amiss. Aoife had taken the children, and they were not with Bodaric. Where were they? Immediately Lear got on his horse and shot off towards the palace of Bodaric. And he galloped and galloped and galloped until he got so thirsty and tired he had to stop by the lake of Lochdarrick. And he stooped down and scooped up some water and splashed his face and cried out, "Oh, my children, where are you?" And over on the far side of the lake, Fionnuala heard her father's voice, and she brought and swam the children over to the side to where her father was, and spoke to him. Lear was horrified when he saw the swans speaking to him, telling them that these swans were his children. Fionnuala told Lear everything that had happened, and of the curse, and the 900 years, 300 years here, 300 years on Loch Moyle, the Sea of Moyle, and 300 years at Lochgar. Lear was furious. he said to his children, "Wait, stay, I will be back. Do as you're bid, don't step on land, stay on the water, I will be back." And they sang to him, and as they sang his heart calmed and eased, just as Aoife had promised it would do. Their song would calm and bring comfort to the human ear that heard it. Lear got back on his horse, rode swiftly to Bodarich. And when he arrived there, he swung open the palace doors and went straight up. Aoife was beside the king while he was sitting on his throne, and she hid behind it. Lear stared at her and screamed at her, and then told Bodarich what had happened. Bodarich was horrified. He turned immediately to Aoife and said, "What have you done? Girl, what have you done?" Aoife was so taken aback she couldn't make up an excuse. She couldn't think. "What do you fear most?" he said to her. And because she couldn't have time to think, she said, "I'm frightened, I'm afeared of the north wind." And with that, he cast a spell on her and turned her into an ugly thing and cast her out onto the north wind. Oh, you can still hear Aoife today. When you hear the north wind blowing, you hear that screaming. That's Aoife. Bodarich came down and held Lear's hands, and they both wept. And they both went back to Loughdara, and they both went to the swans and listened to their song. And as they listened, their anger and sadness subsided, and a sweet contentment and calm reached them, though there was a sweet sorrow there still. Every day, until he died, King Lear visited his children. And after 300 years, it was time for the swans to go to the Sea of Moyle. When will this bell its sweet note ringing save my soul from this stormy world? And she hurled her brothers close to her. Fionnuala protected them, though they were frightened. 300 years of sheer hell and misery and storms. And then it was time to fly west to Loughdara, the calm waters, where a holy monk arrived in 300 years, and a bell rang. The monk became their friend and kept them company. And they told the monk of their history, of their story, and who they were. The children, after 300 years, were free now to step on land. Some say that they stepped on land and Patrick blessed them and baptized them and buried them in the one grave holding hands together. Some say they declined Patrick's offer, and some say they walked into the woods together. Some say the children of Lear. Some say